Adam, the Tar Heels were the football team, as we talked about on Friday. They were the only Tar Heel team that played in Chapel Hill this past weekend. But the football team wasn't the only Tar Heel team competing. Adam, let's take a look back at the weekend. Brought to you by UNC Health. Team up for life well played. Learn more at unchealth.org/sports. So, Adam, how did those other Tar Heel teams do this weekend?
Here are the results, and then Jones will tell you the team's Jones record. Let's start with men's soccer.
Yeah.
ACC opener on Friday. They traveled up to Blacksburg. A 1-1 draw with the Hokies.
This counts as a draw in my book. So Virginia Tech scored, I believe, in the 77th minute.
That's exactly right.
Then there was a long weather delay.
38 minutes.
And then the Tar Heels answered in the 83rd minute?
Yes.
To tie things up. So I think a frustrating result for the Tar Heels. They had just come off a good performance offensively against VCU in which they put the ball in the back of the net 4 times. They just got to find a little more. Just got to be able to finish a little bit more. I feel like anytime I watch them, they're doing a lot of good things, and they get a lot of opportunities. They're just not quite able to finish it off yet. So start off ACC play with a tie. It's amazing to me. The men have only played 4 games, and the women have played 8. Now, one of the men's games got stormed out. A game they were up 1-0 against American when the weather got so bad that they couldn't play anymore. But that's a significant difference.
Tar Heels 2-0-2 overall.
Yeah.
You good with that?
Neither soccer team has lost yet, but there have been a lot of draws.
That's true. Spoiler about the women's soccer results coming up. Carolina home ACC opener Friday against Notre Dame. We'll talk more about that later this week. Women's soccer, we told you last week, big non-conference road trip in which Anson Dorrance just plays everyone he can find who's good. Carolina won at South Carolina. They beat the Gamecocks 2-1. South Carolina's a top 10 team. Then
I got to tell you, the 2 goals that the Tar Heels scored in the first half, both very, very creative and impressive goals.
The Tar Heels have had some real highlight reel goals on the women's side. Mia Oliaro's had at least one that I can think of. Allie Sentnor.
Yeah.
She's just a magician with the ball.
Who was it she had? Was it Arkansas she had such a good one
right.
against? There have been some really impressive. They had some really, really nice finishes in that game in the first half. They're up 2-0 at halftime. South Carolina, good team, got a goal in the second half, but the Tar Heels hold on for the win. Emmy Allen, of course, former podcast, doing a great job in the net.
And our good friend Avery Patterson.
Yeah.
Who has now scored in 3 straight games, including that South Carolina game, and then she got the only goal on Sunday as Carolina tied number 12 Alabama. Jones, Avery Patterson's goal was on an 80-yard run.
Wow. So I didn't see any of that one. But my sources tell me that it was a physical affair.
I think there were 4 yellow cards and Alabama got 3 of them.
Whew.
Here's the book on Tar Heel women's soccer.
Try to rough them up.
Rough them up and play these long balls into the box and see if it'll take a weird bounce and somehow you get a chance. Those seem to be the 2 things pretty much everyone's done against Carolina. But as Jones said, it hasn't resulted in a defeat for Carolina because the Tar Heels are 5-0-3 overall. They'll host the ACC opener against Virginia Tech this Friday at 3:30. Carolina's number 3 in the country.
I mean, this is not unique, but the Tar Heel women have a real chance to win the title. There are other really good teams out there as well, including several in the ACC, but the Tar Heels are as good as anybody in the country. They are in that small group that has a legitimate chance to be the champion at the end when it's all said and done.
It's tricky because they're not a wagon, but they have a definite chance to win the national title.
Here's the thing, Adam. I think the women's soccer program in total is the most wagon program there is.
Right.
They are the ultimate wagon.
Right.
The problem now is there are more teams that in other places could achieve wagon status. And so the Tar Heels are battling for the most wagonness right now.
Well, in the irony of all ironies, Carolina's ultimate wagonness created the other wagon, higher diversity of good players.
Yeah.
because girls grew up watching Carolina, but Carolina can only have so many on the roster. That's the rule. And so these good players go to other places and create good teams.
That's
and
right.
then all of a sudden the wagons got to play other potential wagons. You can't be the ultimate wagon all the time. Field hockey.
Smooth transition.
Yeah. Went to Old Dominion. That's a non-conference matchup even now. And beat the Monarchs 2-1. Goals from Peyton Worth and Charlie Bruder. Riley Heck had the assists on both of them. Maddie Kahn in the goal, Jones-esque. She had 6 saves for the entire season going into that game.
This is before the Old Dominion game.
Yes. In the Old Dominion game, Maddie Kahn had 7 saves.
Respect.
Had you sent her some video pointers?
Showed her some tips. Heavy glove hand use.
Tar Heels now 4-1 overall. The ACC opener is Friday against Louisville. Louisville's really good. Carolina's number 2 in the country. Volleyball. We told you they were going on the road, and it was a bit of a rough road
Tough
trip.
weekend. Tough weekend.
Tar Heels lost 3-0 at Michigan on Friday, then lost 3-1 at Michigan State on Sunday. Tar Heels I didn't see the matches, but in reading the recaps and looking at the stats and breaking down the stats with the analytics as I usually do, it doesn't look like Carolina played very well. They committed a lot of errors. They didn't hit very well. Just sometimes that happens when you go on the road and play 2 matches in 3 days. Fortunately, Carolina's back home. Starting Friday, 4-game homestand against Santa Clara. Carolina is 4-3 overall.